Well, after some fussing around, getting things to actually limber up and work again because nothing electrical wanted to work, the solenoids were sopping wet, which those aren't supposed to get wet, by the way. These guys are supposed to be in a place where they don't get wet, not where they currently are. If he'd have mounted them underneath the aqueduct, well, that would have been a good plan, but I suppose, you did what you did and it worked forever. So after 18 years in a mouse nest that completely covered this hole inside of this cowling and this hole inside of this poor engine, yeah, well, so Gary did a lot, and removed a carcass and the bees and things like that. But I need to go to the next level here. Now I want you to notice something. See this? This is the intake port for the air to go into the carburetors. Now, is it any wonder why the carburetors are locked up? I'm pretty sure we're going to find a family, a deceased family, when we take this off. So, in the meantime, that's a washer. Wonder where that belongs. Yeah, I'm going to put him off the side for later. We're going to get rid of Chewy and do some recon on wiring damage, which honestly, it doesn't look like there's any wires damaged, which is surprising. So there's a possibility I might be able to even get this thing fired up. But I gotta, get this gone. So rather than let you guys listen to a vacuum cleaner scream, like most channels do, which, good God, everybody knows what a vacuum sounds like and what it does. So why should I make you guys deal with that? Now, the starter's froze solid too. That's another dilemma. So I don't think I have one of these, but I do have the technology to take one apart and free it up. I'm almost positive I don't. God, this stinks. Holy fuckowie tribe. Yeah, so let's de-rodentize this thing and maybe some of the stench. And then I guess it's going to have to be open this up. I will open this up on camera so you guys can see what's up with that, because that's going to be a story. But this nifty 50 is a neat little motor. And the other thing I noticed too when I bought the boat was how this is mounted. Now, if you know anything about a boat when it's trying to travel through the water, that this thing on plane, the water is going to come back up from the back of the boat. So if you look at how this is, I can't believe this thing didn't create one hellacious rooster tail right up this CMC trim. I just can't believe it didn't raise all kinds of hell, with it on plane. I guess they're going to find out, because I'm literally going to get this boat up and running and put it back in the water and just see what she do. I don't know anything about this motor. I don't know what's going on with the gear case. I don't know what's going on with anything about this motor. But I do know that short shaft 50 horses are golden. They are rare as ten's teeth. So, matter of fact, I've probably only seen a half a dozen of these. My buddy, he's a young friend of mine, Micah, and he's a member of the channel. And this is like so totally right up his alley. He just loves this stuff. He's a young mechanic and learning how to do things. I sold him several motors and he's managed to make them all go and run and live again. So that's kind of some exciting stuff. I am going to tell you, this thing does rotate and turn over. So it doesn't turn, I don't feel any compression whatsoever. I mean, nothing. So, well, there's something. But I don't really want to rotate it and have it suck anything more inside this engine. So let's get going with the cleanup here and the carnage reduction. a Carnage Reduction Act. There you go. Well, after some vacuuming out the carnage and inspecting the wiring harness, and we found out that everything seems to be ungnawed, and the main power lead's coming up, the wiring harness going to the plug. The plug seems to be good. Everything was looking pretty good, and we were getting somewhere. And do you see that hose right there? Where my finger is? Well, let's follow that. And I believe that is supposed to connect to that. So they gnawed off the water tail hose. So that sucks. Looks like all the coil wires are all intact and not damaged. So that's a win. Everything on this side is good. And when you get over here where the plug-in and the fuse is, this is just an OMC thing, routing wires, but they could have snacked on this positive wire. So we'll be working on that, fixing that. But what they did get, which will stop any kind of turning this thing over, is this is the ground side of the coil. So there's a wire that's supposed to be like right there. And that's supposed to go to, let me see if I can find the other end of it. I know I saw it somewhere. Oh, that. This wire here comes out of here and eventually gets to that lug. Now those are really rusty. I'm going to take my Dremel tool with the wire brush end on it and clean these up super freaking good and then lubricate them down before I do that. The other thing that I managed to get done too was now I'm having this turn, and I'm thinking this upper bushing here is really super dry. So we're going to remove the starter and just give it some serious love, because the bottom's really crustified too. And, you know, just clean it up, you know, and lubricate stuff, and I'm quite positive that'll be good. So now we got down to, by the way, I found things when I was vacuuming. I'm not really sure where the hell that's supposed to go, but I've seen those before. But that shouldn't be in there. So anyway, let's look at what, here we go. Oh my god, that's nasty. Come on, don't let go of that gasket, don't rip it. Ah, frick. Yeah, okay, so let's see if we can get the gasket off of this piece, since it doesn't want to come off the other piece. Oh, now we're half and half. Well, that's great. Come on. Amazing. Oh yeah, that's some stuff. Holy Christ, all Friday. Okay, well, that might have something to do with why the carburetors don't move. That is insane. Now, keep in mind, when we took the hood off, when Gary and I took the hood off this thing, this whole engine was completely solid freaking packed with this insulation. Now, where this insulation came from is anybody's guess, but this was a lot of work over a very long period of time for some little rodent. And oh, that's the air intake, but you can see that the carburetor here is just got, mouse piss is evil. I don't know if I can save this carburetor, but I do have a dip tank, and this bottom one is super bad. This thing got in the way. Yeah, that's just, I doubt it. I do have a friend in the OMC world that may have carbs for this if it comes down to that. But next step here is I'm just going to vacuum this out, and I'm going to start to lubricate these carburetors from the inside and the outside, and we're just going to leave it sit for a few days. But this is as far as I'm going to go with this video. I did get the, after much messing around, the trim system does work. So that's cool. So I am going to pressure wash this thing too. I'm going to one of the channel members made a comment about that too earlier. Nothing a good pressure washing wouldn't fix. Well, yeah, that's only the beginning. But I'm going to degrease it, spray some magic crap all over the thing that eats aluminum garbage like this. I got products for that. And clean all that stuff up. And then we're going to lubricate the carbs and throw it out back and let it sit for a while. Just let it try to do a Christine thing. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to get all this mess cleaned up, and now you know what's going to happen next. Well, after many washings in an acid bath and aluminum acid bath to get the corrosion and the mouse stenchage off of there, which there's still stench. It's in the back of the aqueduct of the boat now, and I'll have to vacuum that out. But I'm going to showcase my acid that I use for stripping aluminum. Here's kind of the before and after shot, the difference of what this boat's going to look like done, which is going to be a long ways down the road because it has to be completely taken apart, flipped upside down. It's a process. I've been through this countless times, but old and skanky just bought it yesterday. So that's kind of how things go. And I've got to strip all this green house paint off the bottom of the boat too. That's just got to go, and that's another process. So yeah, not fun to do these things, but it's what I do. Now, as far as the motor goes, everything is really as clean as it could potentially get. It's just that damaged. You know, mouse piss is the worst crap in the world. It destroys everything. I mean, it literally does. I'm going to re-soak that so it can get that staining off. Yeah, well, all this stuff's going to get cleaned again. So the next step here is just going after the carburetors and trying to limber them up. And this prop shaft is so sticky. It's way better than it was. You couldn't even hardly move it. But I don't feel any bearing problems. So don't be a bit surprised if I pull this off here and there's a wad of fish line around the shaft like you would not freaking believe. It's going to get a gear lube change. I got to check it for spark. There's just so many things to do, but it's got to get dried out really good before that, because there may or may not have been water injected into the mouth of the carburetors. Thus why it's staying tipped up like this too, because whatever went in won't get past the throttle plates. It'll get on the choke area, but it won't go past the throttle plates, and it'd be minuscule. So if you keep it up and let it dry before you start tipping it back, it won't end up in the motor. The starter that was froze solid is now turning. A little sticky yet, but it is turning, and it's not squeaking and screeching and doing stupid things. So I think a little more lubrication and this thing is going to live just fine. So that's a good thing, because I need to spin it over. These came as clean as they could humanly be. I'll take my Dremel with my little wire wheel and clean up the threads before I attempt to loosen these. And then we got to get this wire that's bad. That's got to get replaced. Let's see if you can see past that to this thing. Yeah, the water tail. The water tail was a delicacy. It was some chewy rubber that they just couldn't not have their way with. And the sucky part about that is where it's located down inside of here on the block, which is right there. And getting that off carefully without breaking stuff and getting a new one back in there, it's just not a good time. There's the other end of it. So that's pretty much the extent of where I'm at with this. I don't have a lot of time. I'm really busy with other things, which you guys will definitely get to see. But this is where we're at with the cleaning and the mouse destenching, and I think it looks really, really, really good. So this motor is going to be in the hands of someone else, I've decided. I'm going to make it perfect again, make it run again, and I'm going to sell the motor. And I do have a 60 horse Scott that I want to put on this boat. So, but that's just all down the road. That's the cat out of the bag on that. Time has passed and things have happened. Just going to show how clean this block actually did come out from the mouse mess from the acid treatment. This is good enough for me. There's a lot of stuff to be done here. There's some wiring that's got to be replaced. Water tail needs to not have a chew mark for 3 or 6 inches. So that's got to be replaced. The tilt switch is bad in the dash. Had to go through that. That was an hour of my life I won't get back chasing that wiring shit. And otherwise, to be honest, this thing came out surprisingly well. Starter turns really nice, really easy. So when I get this black wire that goes from here, and it's located somewhere else at the moment. What's left of it. This is in pretty bad shape. That's going to need love. This is in horrible shape. I'm going to probably have to try to replace this because this is just about, this is just about to snap. So have to get in the wire. Oh, there's the other part of the ground through the, yeah. So I'm going to have to get into the wiring harness anyway, and hopefully I can save this fuse. There's enough of this wire left that I can get a good connection to it with a nice replacement of some pretty red wire. Otherwise, I'm going to end up having to cut it back here and bypass the fuse, and I don't really want to do that. Or cut it, well, yeah. Or maybe get up another one. I don't know. Good question, because I don't have spare harnesses laying around I can rob things from like this. More of a Mercury guy, don't have these laying around. There's some wires that are going to get liquid tape. By the way, that's a huge tip for you guys. Liquid tape has saved so many wiring harnesses at the shop, it's insane. So we're about done with this thing as far as I'm going to go. Oh, yeah, the prop thing. Yeah, no longer sticky. Don't over tighten the nut, for the love of God. Finger tight is good to go. Throw the key in it and you're good to go. Somebody cranked this thing down like mega tight. So that put just a ridiculous amount of drag on it, put wear on the seal area. It was just, and it pulls on the bearings and everything else. I mean, good grief. I will be doing a gear lube change at some point and that sort of maintenance. I made that clear earlier. But these carburetors are froze solid. I can't get nothing to move. None of this stuff moves. So we're going to dope this up with some go-go juice and see if we can get these throttle shafts to loosen up and lube them up from the inside and the outside and make a mess and see if we can get them to go, but they're not pretty. This one isn't so bad, so I think he's going to be our survivor, the choke side anyway. I think that's going to survive. The bottom one, boy, I tell you, that's pretty rough. These are going to have to come off anyway, but I was just hoping maybe I could free them up. Maybe I could see if I could get the starter working. Maybe I could see how bad off these carbs are by trying to make it run. So there's that. We're at the whole make it run thing. So a lot of work's going to be done once we do make it run. I just need to know if it's got spark. At this point, I can't even turn the frickin' thing over because this is the main power lead coming into this. And if I try to put any power to that, that's going to melt right off. And no ground. That ground right there has to go to right there. So without that wire, no turning over. Well, yeah, I guess I could bypass it with my thing. Well, I could run a ground jumper wire and then use this and this wire, or whichever one's hot. That would be this guy. I could use this and turn it over. So, kicking the solenoid. So I could bypass all that. And I might. Who knows? I just don't have any time to work on this. I'm in the middle of other things, other videos, like 3 of them. So, yeah. So we might be closing up on this one for now. So, and I'll drop this and you'll just have to stay tuned and see what happens. Okay, just a quick follow-up here. This stuff. Seriously, every shop on the planet needs this. This is the second time I borrowed this from my son because I had stuff that was froze solid. No way was anything affecting it. Not PB blaster, not liquid wrench, not nothing. He brought this up here. These were froze solid. I mean, soaked with the chokes. Everything. Froze solid. Nothing would phase it. Look at that. I mean, seriously. This stuff is the greatest. I mean, I've used Freall. I love that stuff too, but it's expensive. But I don't even care what this costs. This is, they call it liquid torch in a can. Yeah, I don't know what's in it, but it's the bomb. So, shameless plug. And reminder to buy some of my own. Well, all the wiring is fixed. And that's liquid tape, by the way. Just want to show you that. And I added a new, or redid the ground wire here where my finger is. Follow the finger, you idiot. And then I added a new section of wire here, and there's shrink fit too. And then I always put a little bit of tape on there just to make sure that these are sealed from the crimp areas. And move the fuse down here. And let's see, replace the water tail hose. And did a compression test, and this thing sat for 18 years, and my switch is dying. Sure. Come on. Okay, we gotta start over. Well, we're going to start over. Take 2. Okay, 2 takes and we got it. Alright, I'm just going to show you here what I did. I took and used liquid tape on all the frayed wiring that was really, really bad, and got it all coated a couple times so it's now really strong again. And I only did this to the really good wire that was still there. I had to cut and replace this one. This is the power that goes through the fuse. Without that fuse, no worky. Nothing works. I also had, because some of the wire was totally damaged, I had to put a section of wire in here, and these are all shrink connectors. I replaced the water tail hose, and went around here. I checked the motor for spark, and now the water tail's on. Checked the motor for spark. I checked the motor for compression, and I got 145 and 140. Actually, this was like 150. It sagged a little bit, but that's my gauge's fault. So it, yeah, 145 and 150, and this motor's going to run like a top. So the only thing, I haven't done the gear lube yet, and I haven't, because I'm going to check that or change it. And it has not had a water pump impeller. Well, it hasn't ran in 18 years. It's been parked for 18 years. So I suppose it probably will need one of those. And I'm not sure I'm the guy that's going to do that, or if somebody buys this motor, then that's they can pay me to do it, or maybe I'll do it and raise the price of the motor accordingly. So it just, I haven't decided yet. First things first, man, got to make it run. Realistically, the starter should come off and possibly get bushings lubricated and things like that, but it does turn over just fine. It makes a little noise, but that's because of dry bushing in the bottom of the starter. There's a bushing down here, and that's just super dry, and I can't get to that to lubricate it. So overall, this thing's coming together. All the carb linkages are all doing carb linkaging things, and everybody's hooked back up the way they're supposed to be. And as you can see, both carburetors are doing what they're supposed to do. The choke does choke things. Yeah. I checked the electric choke as well, and that is working. I haven't done anything with the wiring of the boat yet because I could legitimately care less. This was the Make It Run video. So that's where we're at. The next time you see me pop in here, we're going to be hooked to a hose and make it do vroom vroom sounds. Well, it runs. Idle circuit and carburetors are all plugged up, but wow, what a water tail. Nice. I was worried about the water pump. Yeah, choke it out so often to make it idle, but that's a nice little boat. And it's gonna die. Yep. Idle circuits. Kind of important. So, I also vacuumed out this old tub too. That was fun. So, it lives, it runs. Redo the carburetors, and then take it up to the lake, see how it performs, and find a new and improved home. If you like this stuff, and you like to see more of these revivals of outboards, like and subscribe. I have fun doing it in between my actual restoration work, so this is just a little something fun in the evening to do. And so anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this, and probably the next time you see this thing running, it's going to be running out a lot better. Maybe later this week if I get time. I got lots of things to paint.